official, but I just talked to her. She's like,
What do you
Yeah, because
do?
Eric said, right?
are we all set? Yeah.
We are, I know we're streaming on YouTube right now.
Okay.
No, great.
Thanks for that. He's coming late. That's what Tony said.
Official, but I just talked to her. She's like,
What do you
yeah, because
do?
Eric said, right?
Are we all set? Yeah.
We are, I know we're streaming on YouTube right now.
Okay.
No, great.
Thanks for that. He's coming late. That's what Tony said.
This isn't the prize. No, he's doing that.
Yeah.
This be really fun.
So
I also go to
really,
every
really
planning
smart.
commission meeting.
Wasn't gonna tell him. I was gonna say. That's what you want.
Respect him. Yes. Okay. Here's the great thing to know. I don't, are we waiting for Roger?
We're just waiting for Marie.
Oh, okay.
We'll start without Roger.
Or Craig. Where's Craig?
Craig's-
Oh, is he out tonight?
Craig will be here or Roger?
I know, Joey. It was nice of you to send me a text. I'm like, Joey is still around. Just kidding. Sorry, I had to, last month was our anniversary. So we went to the jazz show together. I had a miserable cold. And it wasn't COVID. We went to PSG.
They have very good sleep.
That's such a shame.
I know. It's like, come on. But it was fun. 20 years.
That's a lot of years.
All right. Welcome to the March 23rd North Logan City Council meeting. We will, I think, welcome Craig late today and excuse Roger. And can we look into maintaining this distance between me and the rest of the council?
I like it. Feels accurate.
All right, we will begin with a pledge led by Buzzy, after which Emily will offer a prayer.
The audience, please rise and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank thee that we could gather together as a city council to discuss the issues facing North Logan. We ask thee to help us have clear minds and open dialogue as to the concerns and to figure out how best to help our city. We ask for additional rain to continue to increase our stores so that we can have a less dry summer. We ask a special blessing on those who are afflicted in Ukraine, that they can find peace and that they can find safety. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, I would entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Buzzy, second by Emily. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? That passes. I believe we have several meeting minutes to approve tonight. Okay, so I would accept a motion to approve the January 5th and 19th meeting minutes, city council meeting minutes. What? Oh, making a motion?
Oh, I move that we approve the minutes. What were the dates? Sorry, Marie.
5th and 19th.
Can I do both? I move that we approve the minutes from January 5th and January 19th.
All right, Buzzy
Second.
motions, Emily seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Let's see, Alan, do we have any follow-up on issues from previous meetings?
No, we don't.
And
Just
how
the
about
items.
action items?
Yeah, I'll just jump through these pretty quick. We'll talk about the Civic Center later on tonight. Recruitment and Compensation Committee, we have some action items we'll continue to work on. The Communication Committee, there's an education item that we'll probably put together this week, and we've been advertising several jobs in conjunction with the Compensation Committee with the Communication Committee. There's some final website updates. Water we'll discuss this evening, so I'll probably jump through water pretty quickly, and sewer. Streets is the same thing. We'll go over several streets items this evening, and stormwater. Those are the four departments with budgetary proposals. So they'll go over some of the things that are going on in their departments and the budgetary items. Engineering right now, it's very busy. We're looking at water rights for new well and also well locations. and possible options for how we would pipe the canal east of this library here, the Hyde Park Canal, just through this portion along the canal. And then they're working on a USDA loan for other water improvements as well. Parks, they're doing the Cash Recreation Complex prep. They're getting ready for those major improvements we went over associated with those RAPS projects around the pickleball courts, new restroom in that area, several improvements, also some Elkridge items as well. And then just kind of prepping for the year, prepping all the different parks. And then trails, Bonneville Shoreline Trail, we'll talk about some of those items further tonight, but we do have the grant. We have been working with Carly at the county, and she's also helping us with some of the education materials for the canal trails, which we do need to push ahead, and I'll follow up with her on that. Recreation, they're extremely busy right now. They have several programs coming up. One big thing though is they have the health and wellness fair. I think that's this Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. at the formerly what was known as the RSL facility. And then they're getting ready for soccer, which has a massive amount of signups so far. I think 1,100 people are signed up for that. The next largest one in the valley is about 600 or 500 people that play soccer. So hats off to Jesse and all the things that he's putting together along with his staff. Facilities, they're working on several things. The budget, which is dependent upon all the other budgets in the city. So it's kind of tricky putting together a facilities budget. It's one of the more difficult ones throughout the city. Obviously, our new fuel dispensing system, they've been going through that for several months, getting that ready. And then they're having the reservation meeting, which they've coordinated with the other departments, Rec, Parks, and Mary. Winter cleanup is taking place at the cemetery. It's more spring cleanup now. They're taking care of some burials and then looking at the secondary water options for the cemetery, which they've gone over in the past few weeks. Community development, they'll have 3 items on the planning commission this week, 3 developments that they'll be talking about. One kind of up near the Yonker property is what it is. I think it's the Beck Farm subdivision. Nick Porter's is just north of that, off of 16th East and about 2850 North in that area. It's 17th East is really where that one would take place. And then the third one is Smiling H, which they'll discuss a development plan just east here of the city office, which is a very large subdivision. Those are the major things. And then they're looking at general plan options. Spencer's reaching out to different firms. He's talked with other cities about general plan options, grants, looking into that. Jumping down through here, economic development master plan. We've looked at the different options of fine tuning local sites. We'll go over that this Friday in a meeting. And he's reformatting the incentive table. The treasurer, she's doing several things related to still hooking up Polaris, which is our accounting software. The dispatch fund, we're fine tuning. We're looking at that, making sure we're calculating that correctly, which is the monthly fee that comes in the utility bill. We're looking at different options with that too going forward. And Debbie's busy with those items and also with some things related to garbage, which we'll talk about later tonight. Business licensing, Vicky's really streamlined everything with business licensing, given other options, and she's really helped businesses go through that process a lot faster. So hats off to her. Human resources. Hats off to Karen and the interns this past month. They did the Employee Appreciation Month this month. There's been several activities, several recognitions, just an overall fantastic month that they put together to recognize our employees and everything that they do. Scott, he's been working on the budget, so hats off to him. Each week he goes over these budgets, helping prepare and get things finalized. Library, it's kind of the same thing. They are dramatically increasing programs, but they're really heavily involved in the civic center design and pushing that forward. It's a busy time of year for them getting ready for the summer. Police nuisance properties, we're still working on each of those. Their budget presentation, which will be the next meeting, I believe, along with the general fund and a few other items. And we'll go over a few things tonight with them as well. Fire department, they're in the same boat as a lot of the other departments. It's having trouble finding employees, but they're kind of pushing that forward. But they have 2 employees that they need to fill now, and then their major station that they're putting together. So I went through those quickly. If there's any other questions. on any of the
Just
action
one.
items. Yes.
And it's all this great data, so don't laugh at this question, but the question of the week is, are we going to light the pickleball courts?
Are we gonna light them?
Are we going to light them? I got it.
Oh,
I don't play,
yes.
so I promise it's not for me. but
Yeah,
a
when
couple
we-
neighbors have asked.
One of the advantages of putting them at the Meadowview site, the Cash Recreation Complex, when we put them there, we had a strategic plan to light them, put them in place. Obviously, I'll have a timer on it, won't go past
Yeah,
a certain time.
But we're going to actually implement the lighting this year. I remember we talked about it last year that it might be.
The sleeves
pushed
and
out.
posts are going in as we speak. So
Man.
they're going in as we
Whoop,
speak, because
whoop.
then the concrete will go in around them. So
Okay.
they have to be done kind of at this time. That decision had to be made early. So thanks for bringing
Yeah.
that up.
Thanks, Alan.
Some pandering, Buzzy.
No, I've never played, but I'm the only person in the world that hasn't played apparently. So
It causes less injuries than golf, so.
you haven't played either, John?
I think
Maybe
you-
we
All
can.
right, we will move on to recognition of two exemplary staff members. I understand they're both here tonight. The first is Christopher Yelderman, Yeldy. He gets such glowing praise that I'm not going to summarize it. I'm going to read it. Christopher Yelderman, lovingly referred to as Yeldy, has been nominated by the entire North Logan City Public Works Department to receive recognition for going above and beyond. Yeldy is a fantastic member of the team and a friend to all. He always makes sure that everyone's needs are met. As the facilities manager, there are various responsibilities ranging from unclogging toilets to keeping staff safe. Yeldy has always worked hard to make everyone feel important and cared for. Through his employment, he has made safety a priority. He strives to make sure staff always has what they need to get the job done right and are always very well fed. Yeldy is a friend to all in the department and is always willing to help in any way possible. It is unusual that we would recognize a staff member leaving the city, but Yeldy has definitely become more of a friend to each of us rather than a member of the staff. From the entire Public Works Department, we will miss Yeldy and wish him nothing but luck in the future. Yeldy will always have friends here at North Logan. And then some specific comments. Jeremy Stedman says, Yeldy is always willing to drop what he's doing and help you out without hesitation. He places the needs of others before his own and is a loyal friend. From Colby Law, Chris has become an outstanding facilities manager, employee, and friend. In the time that he has been at the city, he has created a program that far exceeds facilities duties. He's leaving some big shoes to fill, and will be greatly missed. Thanks for everything, Chris. And then Ryan Campbell, Yeldy has been an excellent hire since day one. During his time here, special event setup has improved. He was always willing to come in and lend a hand. He has even been at the bottom of a 5-foot muddy hole fixing a broken main line on a Saturday with us with no complaints. This last month, he has worked tirelessly to make the transition from one facility lead to the next as seamless as possible. So Yeldy, if you'd stand up and we'll give you a hand of applause. And I'll add, I've heard nothing but praise about you, Yeldy, and we really appreciate your service to the city. The second individual that we'll be recognizing tonight is Officer Tanner Anderson, who also is here tonight. This is from Chief Black. We would like to formally commend Officer Tanner Anderson for his exceptional service and great care while responding to an attempted suicide. Officer Tanner Anderson was dispatched to a suicidal individual on March 12, 2022. As Officer Tanner Anderson arrived on scene, he quickly located a male individual underneath a tree. Through his quick reaction, he was able to immediately perform life-saving procedures. Officer Anderson did not hesitate to assist the male individual, and as a result, the male began to breathe again, resulting in the preservation of life. This letter is to commend and congratulate Officer Anderson on his exceptional service and care to the citizens who are part of our community. So, Officer Anderson, if you'd just kind of give us a wave, and we'll give you a hand of applause as well. And I'll add that when Chief Black explained this incident to me, I was very touched by your involvement and your quick actions that resulted in saving a life. We really appreciate you and know that comes at a price. So thank you. All right, we will move on to our first action item. It is consider ratifying appointments to city boards and commissions. I believe we have one tonight. Who comes highly recommended. Heather Erickson has been proposed to serve on the Planning Commission. Did we vote on this, Marie? A motion to accept that appointment? Okay,
Motion to ratify the appointment.
okay, motion by Emily, second by Buzzy. You guys are killer team tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
We were gonna do 3 terms, right? 3 2-year terms.
Yeah, mandatory 3-year term. Times 2.
6.
All right, thank you, Heather, for being willing. We really do rely on the planning commission. They do a lot of work before we see anything, so we appreciate your willingness to serve. All right, we will move on to presentation from CAPSA regarding Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April. Alina? Okay, yeah, if you'd like to come up and just kind of talk to us.
Well, thanks for letting us be here. You guys have a really cool meeting. That's awesome that you make an awareness of people in your community who are doing cool things. I want to start by talking about some numbers, which can be boring, but I hope it's kind of intriguing. In the year 2021, at CAPSA, we received 750 crisis calls where sexual assault or rape was the primary issue. Our caseworkers spent over 8,000 hours working with sexual assault survivors. Our therapists spent nearly 3,000 hours in therapy with sexual assault survivors. We responded to 39 CODAR exams, which are the sexual examinations that take place at the Cache Valley Hospital. In the past year, CAPSA served 288 clients who had experienced a sexual assault. So that's in 12 months, we served 288 clients who experienced a sexual assault. In January and February of this year, we'd already served 100 clients who had experienced a sexual assault. So when we say this, we know that that sexual assault and rape are affecting members of our community. And so the message that we really want to share in going into Sexual Assault Awareness Month is, what can we do? We and you, as predominant people in your community, there's a high likelihood that you'll know someone or interact with someone who has experienced a sexual assault or rape. And the best thing that we can do that we found is to start by believing. There's a national campaign it's called Start by Believing, and it really just raises awareness of the impact on survivors to not question or ask for more information, but just to really start with belief. I want to share so we asked our staff at CAPSA, why is this important? Why do we start by believing? And these were some of the things they said. They said, I start by believing because everyone deserves the right to be heard and supported. I start by believing because no one should have to go through the aftermath of a sexual assault alone. I start by believing because so many others question or don't believe survivors. I start by believing because I want to stop the cycle of sexual violence. And I start by believing because it can make all the difference in the life of a survivor. And we know this is true. And I want to share one survivor's experience to give you some backstory on this survivor. She came to us probably at this point almost 8 to 10 years ago after having experienced a sexual assault. And now she's living in another state and she's just really found success. She has she's done really incredible things. Anyway, she wrote to us and she said, I received help at a time in my life where I truly felt as though I had no one to talk to or someone to help me through what I was going through. Similar to other women, I felt heard, believed, trusted, and validated. Thank you for believing me. And what I really want to draw attention to is at CAPSA, we're the place we hope you refer people to, but you're likely going to be people's first point of contact after something has happened. And so as community members, we just hope that you feel equipped to be able to respond in a way, starting with by believing. And so I brought a pledge. We partnered with USU on our messaging for Sexual Assault Awareness Month this year. And our message coming from the Start by Believing is hearing I believe you helps healing. And so we want to invite you to sign this pledge and commit to your city that you will start by believing. And so I will bring this around if you would like to sign.
Set it down. Anywhere? Be so prominent. My signature.
Do not get bigger than the mayor's.
It's gonna be really small point now. You say don't get bigger than the mayor's. I went like feet.
I was 24. I know no one wants to take this.
No, did you notice like how pretty signatures are until you get to that one though?
Oh, I like it. And then you want to do a picture.
Let's get a photo. We want to
Oh, sorry.
share with you.
Do you want us to stand up here or stand down here?
Maybe down here so we can
Okay.
see. I will let you go on.
Thank you so much for all this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared.
It's like, are the eyes closed? Sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming in for the important work that you do. We will move on to consideration of a concept plan for commercial subdivision of approximately 4.4 acres located at approximately 2300 North Main Street. The proposed subdivision involves the division of 2 existing lots into 5 proposed lots in the CG zone and is being proposed to be subdivided using the commercial subdivision process. Alan, do you want to give us the background on this?
Yes, just 1 second. Zoom in on this. So to help give you a reference here, here's IFA. And here is Carpets of America, right here, this building. And so what we're looking at, let me pull up the actual folder, just to give you the reference, is in reference to these parcels 0008 and 0055. Let me go to this. Sorry, it's turned the other way. So you can see the Carpets of America. This is the top would be the west side of this. And it's proposed to separate it out into 5 parcels. Here, it's already 2 parcels. This was actually taken through a partial process. How many years ago, Jason? 4 or 5 years ago? 2012, so 10 years ago. I was brought through the process. It was just never recorded at that time. So unfortunately, at that time, Jason has to come back and go through the full process because it expires after a year. But what it is just parceling off each of the commercial parcels. This would create opportunities for other businesses that could go on these parcels in this general commercial zone. This went through both the Development Review Committee, received a positive recommendation that went to the Planning Commission, which received a unanimous positive recommendation to approve the concept plan for this particular subdivision.
I'm sorry, Alan, will you tell me once again where IFA is relative?
Let me do something really quick. Okay. So now it's oriented the same way. So this is the Carpets of America building right
Okay.
here. That's that building.
Oh,
And
okay.
IFA is just to the south of it. There's a drive that goes along the north side of it. That's part of these parcels. So that's access on both sides. They would just plan on expansion and moving and putting some other business in this area in the general commercial zone. This enables them to do that.
Do we know what kind of businesses are zoned in there?
It's general commercial, so it's
General
pretty wide
commercial.
open as far as the businesses that could go in there. Everything except heavy industrial is essentially what that is.
All right, any discussion on this?
No, I'm very positive towards this.
All right, would you
I
like to
would-
make a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion. I would like to approve the concept plan for the commercial subdivision.
Okay, a second.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Emily, second by Joni, all in favor?
I,
All right, that motion passes. Next is consideration of a proposed plat amendment to the North Logan Industrial Subdivision. Alan, will you give us a background?
Yes, just to help familiarize you with this, I think it was a month ago, we brought this before the city council. It was associated with this subdivision that took this parcel and subdivided it into 4 parcels right here. To put this in reference, this is Lazy One right here, out on Second West and 2850 North in our industrial area. And they plan on building 4 large buildings. The tilt-up buildings, they look very attractive. They're similar to the Lazy One style of design. But the question came up right here when this roadway right here on 400 West, whether or not, see how there's a kind of a sliver here in the current design or the plat that was approved a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago. We brought the development plan back in. The development plan was altered, but in association with that, we have to modify the plat to straighten out this road. So the entire east half of the road goes through the length of this entire property. It doesn't curve at that point. It stays at this alignment till the bottom of that parcel. Then at that point, it would curve over and go on the existing alignment along that next parcel to the south. So what you're looking at here is a plat amendment to correct this portion right here, this corner. And let me pull that up.
Did we get feedback on this from that parcel owner?
Yeah, sorry, let me go back to that.
So I know, I remember that was part of the discussion.
This
but-
property owner,
Yeah.
he's the one that submitted the.
Oh,
plat
okay.
No,
amendment.
but the,
04. Triple 04.
I'm sorry. If
Oh,
I remember
04.
correctly, isn't it the guy who is 001 or the, sorry, just to the south? Yeah, right there.
011, yes, the city engineer did talk with him and get his approval. Obviously, not extremely jumping
It's
for
not-
joy,
yeah.
but he does recognize it and that the city will have to work with him in that regard. Obviously, we
Right.
can't just come in and put a road on his property. That would be a lengthy negotiation about property acquisition at that time
Okay.
in order to put that road through. And then we've spoken with each of these other property owners as well throughout this process. Let me pull that up though. Sorry, on folder. So as you look at this, just to put that in reference, it's just this corner right here. So this plat amendment, this is an existing plat, but amending the plat is just amending this corner right here. There's no other changes.
So we're actually not even doing anything with 011 for this request tonight.
No,
Okay.
no. There's actually even a gap between there. This little.
So that'll have to
gaps
come
in the
back then,
parcel.
when, if the road ever goes in.
If the road ever goes in, we'd have to come back to the city council. We would have to negotiate and figure things out through this portion right here. Regardless, we'd have to figure things out with each of the property owners. There's a significant amount of discussion and who pays for what and when and how. But with these types of things where we're actually coming across an already improved parcel, then we're going to be the one that's probably going to be doing most of the work.
Okay. I know we talked about this at length, and it sounds like we're just buttoning up a portion of it, the one that we can. So any other questions? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the proposed plat amendment to the North Logan Industrial Subdivision.
All right, second,
Second.
second by Joni, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. We'll move on to considering adopting ordinance titled 10-909 Water Source Protection. Oh, Jordan right now. Great.
He's going to pretend to know something about water source.
Thank you. This is, we haven't changed anything from the last time you guys saw it, other than Scott was kind enough to put it in the resolution format and get it prepared to go into code. So I don't know if you had any other questions on it or anything came up from last time.
No, just a reminder that this is just reflective of what the state requires.
Yep,
That we're
yep.
required to implement as a city.
That's right. Yep, we're just trying to get into compliance with our source protection program.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Any additional discussion, I should say? All right, I would entertain a motion. We're working hard tonight.
A motion to adopt ordinance title 10-909 water source protection.
All right, motion by Emily, second by Buzzy. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I talk to you later about this?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
thanks. All right. thanks.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but did we get a vote on that?
Oh,
I feel like I was the only one who said
did I
aye.
not? Oh, I might. have
So-
voted aye.
I
Let's do
did
another
only hear-
vote because I
So
said it
all
very
in
clearly.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
I'll give you.
that
Jordan's
motion
cell phone.
carries unanimously.
Jordan's cell phone.
Share numbers.
All right. The next item is consider modifying the city council meeting schedule for April 2022. This is not complicated. A few of us cannot make it on the 9th, 6th.
The 6th is the
And
weekend.
so
It's spring
we'd
break.
move that to the 13th. I'm just going to jump to the part where we motion for that.
I move that we modify the city council meeting schedule for April of 2022.
Second.
Motion by Buzzy, second by Emily, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
That was really well. That was great.
Woo.
That one I think we heard.
All right, we're going to move
Yikes.
into the city council work session items. The first is the fiscal year 2023 budget proposal from the Stormwater Department.
Okay, well, this is my first time doing this, so hopefully I cover all the bases. So for our stormwater budget, not much has changed. I mean, we only have a budget of what we can bring in, obviously, or it's a whatever you call
Enterprise.
it, enterprise fund, yeah. So our total for that, our revenues is 284. So as we scroll down, everything's pretty much the same. Really, the only thing that we have wiggle room on are the supplies and repair line. You can see that's 6,500 there. With that, most of that money will be spent, well, all of it will be spent with the development coming in next door where we have to pipe the canal and everything. So, yeah, if there's any questions with that, then there's really no change to it.
Do you want to introduce yourself? Just
Yeah.
because we see you so
Yep.
infrequently.
I'm Colby Law, so I'm streets and stormwater manager. So
Any questions for Colby?
Colby, you did good.
You
Thank
did
you.
great.
First time.
First timer.
this is an easy one.
Let's get to the
Alright.
hard one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to, are you doing that one too? Okay,
Just hang out.
we'll move on to streets.
Find it, sorry.
Okay, so for the streets, I mean, our revenues are pretty much the same. Yeah, if there's any questions on those are pretty unchanged from last year, I guess.
Two things to just point out in this or in this revenue portion of streets. It's kind of odd. The CVTD transportation tax is a tax that was allocated by the county, and that's our allocation that comes to us, that 319,000. The mass transit tax revenue is a tax on all the residents throughout the valley. That's the CVTD tax. That comes in and goes out like the same day. So it never really touches the books other than to register that it came in and out. So there's 838,000 that just goes straight there. Class C road funds are funds that we get based off of our length of roads within the city. So we update that map every few years, and the state allocates a certain portion of that to us. The rest of these are just kind of smaller fees and developmental fees. But just so you know, we emphasize that there is actual revenue coming into this department. This is a general fund item, not an enterprise fund. So it's a little bit more tricky as far as not just whatever we bring in, that's what we spend. This one's a general fund subsidized fund.
So we're not budgeting for the roundabout on 800 this year.
We'll go down below and I can go into that and Colby can go into basically the 90% of the budget, and I'll touch on that if that's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so our street wages, they haven't really changed much. I mean, we've had to make an increase there. One, to get employees and retain employees. That's been pretty difficult. For whatever reason, it's just very hard to find people. Nobody's wanting to apply, I guess.
Colby, sorry to interrupt you guys. So this is, I sent you an email about this today, Alan, somewhat briefly, but are we seeing in here the annual increase for employees? Like, is that a 3% that's recognized there for annual, just the standard annual increases?
So yeah, on
3%
our
plus.
23
3% plus.
proposed line, that's showing our increase. That's more than 3%. I can't remember quite what we put there.
Good.
My math's just not fast enough without a calculator yet.
I
percentage, but
think it's
yeah.
about a 10 or 15, isn't it? What did we adjust there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that about what it averages out to each year? So assuming budget approval, and I should know this, but if everything gets approved and then on July 1st, there's a 3% bump on average across the streets employees. Goals, personal stuff, you mean, but
We
But the
allocated
funding's there.
3% total, and then it's
Yeah.
based off of merit within there.
okay, that's helpful.
And what, are you guys fully staffed right now? No.
No.
How many are you down?
Yeah.
Oh, well, right now, there are the 3 full-time guys with me and 2 others. And then we have 3 part-time guys, but with school going on right now, we're only getting maybe 20 hours out of 2 of them.
What do you budgeted, Colby, for this time of year for part-time employees? Do you know? Should you have 10? Is
For
it?
this time, we keep a lot of our part-time employees over the winter to help with snow removal. So at any time of year, we're usually running 6 to 12 guys in this department.
You're
And
at 3.
yeah, we're significantly less than that right now.
Oh, man.
Hopefully things turn around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where do you have,
Thanks.
I've not looked for a job with the city, so do they go online and?
Yeah,
look for the
we have it
description?
posted on Indeed so people can apply there. We've also
Okay.
had it in the past on USU's website. Can't remember
Do
what
we
that
have
one's
it on
called.
the city's website?
Yeah, so right now
Yes.
it's on
Should
5
be.
or 6 different locations. It's on Handshake, which is the USU job board, which
Yeah.
is a big supplier of a lot of the jobs in this department, a lot of the part-time jobs in this department. Colby's got it on Indeed, which is where a lot of the jobs come. It's obviously the Department of Workforce Services. It's on the city's website, Facebook,
Yep.
and then individual Facebook. There's actually an incentive for employees to refer other employees because that's our most successful method of getting other hardworking employees in Colby's department is referrals. So yeah, it's on 4 or 5 locations right now.
So
So
that is the way we prefer to get our employees is by our current employees recruiting. We seem to have the best luck with that. We get the best type of people. So
I think these are positions that, I mean, we talked about the bonus, the sign-on bonus is part of that, and these qualify in that. And we moved forward on that. I know Karen had written it up and
We did.
And I really hope that works.
I know
Yeah.
it's like a,
You are not the only department that's down a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah,
employees.
it's
And
everywhere.
I know you don't want me working, so.
Okay.
Can you let me know what just so there's someone else in here that doesn't know Class C? Could you explain what that
Class
is?
C is a road fund. That's a very good question because I had to look that up several years ago. Class C, there's different classifications of roads, Class A, Class B, Class C. Class C are paved roads and gravel roads within a city. So that's what qualifies. And then there's dirt roads, there's highways, but Class C are what 98% of the roads in the city are
Here.
classified as.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We moving on to water? Yes.
Okay.
You might want
That's
to go
all you
over
have for
just a
me.
few of the projects.
oh, yeah,
Colby's-
that's
Oh,
right. That's right.
sorry.
Yeah, we do projects.
Do you mind?
Trying to go easy on him, Alan.
Streets never has projects. So.
No.
Right. Colby deserves a
No.
medal, though. He's doing this understaffed. He runs a tight ship. I don't know how everyone keeps up with him, and he
You tell
does it.
us what we need to
He
know,
does it on a
Colby.
shoestring budget. So give him an example of how
Go
he
back to employee
performs the
appreciation.
magic within
Yeah.
the city.
Yeah, we have fun. That's how we get it done. So anyway, our other budget items, most of it's unchanged. Our utilities are all the same. As far as road surface treatment goes, that is our biggest impact this year. We're getting very aggressive with that. From the day asphalt is laid, it begins deteriorating. So in order to prevent having to grind a road up and relay it, which costs about $1 million a mile, and that was a couple of years ago, it's probably more than that now. These surface treatments are what really rejuvenate and save our infrastructure to prevent that massive cost in the future. We team up with Cache County, as you can see up there. These are our current bids. Hopefully they stay the same. There's going to be a lot of fluctuation in oil prices and fuel. So hopefully this is a solid number for us. We'll be working on doing some slurry seal in our neighborhoods, fog sealing the road, our newer roads, as well as the roads that we chip seal. And you lost it, Alan. Google.
Sorry, Colby.
Oh, you're okay. So we have fog seal as well as road striping, which is just painting the lines on the road after we put that oil down, because it'll erase our lines for us. So yeah, that's our biggest increase, I feel like, for this year, but there's a purpose behind it. And if we were able to be aggressive with this and get ahead of it, we're going to save a lot of money in the future.
Quick question, just about road painting.
Yep.
You know, 3100 right in front of the high school, is that on the list? You know where I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah, so not 3100.
okay,
Our Wolfpack Way, that's a road that we will be chip sealing and fog sealing. So we will be painting that. The 3100 north
Mhm.
from Main Street up to 12th East is Hyde Park. So we've had several
okay.
people request that that be painted. I agree 100%.
We just
it
gotta
needs to
tell
be.
Hyde Park.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's kind of the issue we're dealing with now. I'd be happy to paint it myself, but it's outside of our boundaries.
All
but
right, we'll bug Hyde Park.
We could charge
Yeah.
them like 3 times to do it.
Yeah.
Revenue.
We could, and it would make sense. We're going to be in the neighborhood this fall
That's true.
painting. We might as well do it there if they're willing.
Okay,
Maybe we
we
should
can have a
ask them,
conversation
yeah.
about that.
So beyond our road surface treatments, let's see, what other increases might we have? Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. There's been slight increases in road maintenance material, perhaps. We have it, this is the same up there. Contract road construction. We might have to dip into that to help aid with the increased prices for our surface treatments. Other than that, that's going to kind of be on reserve for us. Contract road construction. We don't really have any roads planned for rebuilding. And again, due to our plan with surface treatments, hopefully we can cut down the number of roads that we do need to replace. However, the money that is in there is going to help out with the road next door when this development comes through to punch 6th East through.
I
Yeah.
thought Parks was talking about potentially finishing that road. So is that the Parks is paying for it? Okay, sorry. Got confused which department's paying for which street.
So
On 300, that's what I was talking about from.
on 300,
Yeah, 300 east from,
By the
gosh, I live
pickleball
over there.
court.
So no, 2600 north to whatever. It's not 3100. It's
2850.
2850.
2850.
Yeah, they're just cutting, they're making
Oh, yeah.
300. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that might be a streets thing. I don't,
That's a park.
because we
road.
talked
It
about it in the
ties
parks.
in.
believe
So I
that's
just wanted to make
parks.
sure, because you said you
Mhm.
weren't doing a road. So,
Yeah.
sorry.
And the money we'll be spending are here on 6th East as the development comes in. They're going to put in half the road. It doesn't make sense to leave a road half finished. So that is where we come in and put in the other half of the road. So it's done. Yeah, I think that's all I have unless you guys have any questions. As you can see, that's our impact on the general fund.
So that's a key point to point out. The net demand from the streets department is 586. It's actually a tiny bit lower than that. If you go, and we'll have to look at a few things. Last year's 555. That's a 5% increase over last year. But in the past 6 years, that budget, the demand on the general fund has not increased more than 50 or 60,000. So keep that in mind. That budget has remained relatively the same over the past 6 years, hasn't changed. So hats off to Colby for being able to work magic with that limited budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Colby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move on to the water department.
Mayor, council, thank you. So the Water Enterprise Fund is pretty straightforward every year. I try to base numbers on the previous year as it is revenue. If we do our jobs right, we actually make less money. So try to be conservative with those numbers. So for water meter sales, I put us at $1.9 million for the year. And then a couple of extra fees thrown in there with an operating budget of 1.9 million. As you scroll down, Alan, expense lines, pretty much the same operationally as last year and the year before. A couple increases, small percentage wise. But typically I'm able to get everything taken care of with these numbers. The big one for us will be the infrastructure line. We have allocated quite a lot of money into that because these are water line replacements that are not impact fee related. A couple of those projects are the water line in front of the New Cow Ranch, through the parking lot there. If we want any more business to come in, we've got to redo that. And Juniper Circle up on the East Bench, for whatever reason, is falling apart. So that's on our radar to get fixed as soon as supply and delivery of materials can happen. A couple of the lines you see are blank or I have not expended all of the money yet this year. That's due to not being able to receive product. Everything's back ordered. I've got stuff out from last May that still hasn't arrived. So as soon as that starts rolling in, the expense, the actuals will change. But as of today, it's not a complete clear record of what's happening. If you scroll down, we have set in
far
our
do you want me to
sights
keep
the
going?
well and the reservoir locations. That money we will have to go out for either bond or loan on, maybe a grant here or there if there's any money still available. Because of that, I did not put it in the expenses. That will be more money in and then immediately expended out for those projects specifically. So we are seeing a total operating expense of 2.1 million so it's a increase of 200,000, 250,000. Hopefully that's only reflected in that capital savings line. So we can adjust as needed.
Did we ever get an update from the state allocation?
Yes, we have to go through a grant
Oh,
process
yeah,
now.
I heard this on the side. So
It's
it wasn't
just-
just gifted to us.
We we will get some amount as my understanding, but we got allocated to a different area and we're fighting over a different set of funds, but we should, it's a good sign, but we were just hoping for it to be a done deal at the end of the session and it's not
It
yet.
didn't happen. So if I recall, our intention was to use some of that funding for the well and reservoirs, right?
Yeah, and
This
so
next phase.
Zach and Lance and Jordan, they put together an extensive plan. And so we were hoping initially with all of the massive ARPA funds coming down, that we would be able to get a $10-12 million grant, free money, inflationary money that we could just take and spend on our water projects. As that kept getting whittled down. Now we have to apply for a grant, which will probably subsidize and help with one of the reservoirs that we'll put in. We'll probably use the fund balance and the impact fees to help put in the well, which we're already
Okay.
exploring right now, and working on that. Zach's been working with the state on that as well. It's a lot of state approval to do a new well, obviously, for culinary production. And then we have 4 or 5 other major things that we need to do. Right now, we are debt free as a city, but we'll get to sewer in a minute. We'll have to bond for water. We'll have to bond for sewer, and we'll have to bond for the CIB loan, which will help the community center. But the good thing is, in each of those different realms, we do qualify, and we're looking into different types of bonds, which are very low interest bonds, and we can pay them off over time. But yeah, there's another redundant main line that goes to the city that we probably need to install, and then another reservoir beyond the one that we'll start looking at this year.
Okay, thanks.
Any other water questions? While we're here.
I don't think so.
Thank you for the hard work going
Yeah.
to the state capitol and fighting.
It was
for
fun.
us.
I didn't have to do much.
Did you wear a
I did
suit?
most.
He did
I
wear a
did.
You wear a
suit.
suit?
Yeah, it's the first one I've ever had to wear.
You look very spiffy.
All right.
All right,
Well, I'm finished then.
you Are you doing sewer?
Yeah, I'm doing sewer
Okay.
as well. Sewer, this one, this one's a cut and paste pretty much from the previous year. It's pretty easy to, since all the guys work both departments, we can usually make the sewer work fairly on budget every year. 2.25 million is our revenue. That's just on service fees. So if you go down, Alan, the big one here, obviously you can see the biggest line item is that operating expense to Logan. That's just one that they bill us for as part of our interconnect. So hopefully through doing work here in the city, we can lower that cost, find infiltration, send less water to them essentially, and that will reduce that price. And then we do have a bunch of projects coming up that we will have to bond for, as Alan already led towards, but that's going to be bonding. So operationally, we're just going to keep going with what we usually do, find infiltration, jet camera, clean sewer lines, fix any sort of any other maintenance items we need, but there's not any big projects slated this year for sewer other than what we need to do with Logan City on the trunk line.
And are you having supply issues with that kind
Yes.
of? Okay.
Plastic pipe is plastic pipe, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, as long as we don't have to replace anything, we're okay in sewer. We can keep it running.
Okay.
Totally fine.
Do you know how many people are on septic here?
Probably less than 30
Okay.
off the top of my head.
The city has a requirement, if you're within 300 feet of a sewer line, you have to connect into that sewer
Yeah.
line unless it's
There's a
uphill,
few odd and then
What's that? 300
parcels out there.
300 feet,
300 feet.
Unless it's uphill, right?
unless it's uphill.
All right.
Cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
Anything else? Cool. You're welcome.
All right, we'll move on to updates on the Civic Center. Alan, I'll let you take this one.
Um, The biggest question we have right now and the thing that we're working towards, the mayor's working heavily with the Civic Center process or the community center, which is the remodel of this building and the expansion of the building to the north here. The big question right now, though, that we're working through is literally just budgets right now. Obviously, after hearing Zach's presentation, which basically gave a realistic expectation of pipe, just take that and apply it towards brick, steel, concrete, and the things that we're working on with the city offices. The price is pretty high for those things. So we're looking at cost saving measures, other ways in which we can pay to bring up those additional funds needed for the city office. And then also looking forward to, are there cost savings in economies of scale where we can work on both buildings, and also find other donation methods for the community center, which there will be a lot of support for the community center. We're very fortunate that there is support for the city office. And so we're just working through that process, seeing what we can do. At a last resort, what we'd have to do is kind of whittle down the city office footprint, but trying to avoid that, because you look at a lot of the other businesses or city offices throughout the county, and when they build with kind of a 5, 10, 20-year window or lens, and they're already maxed out. So we're trying to look at that 20 or 30-year window with a realistic expectation that this will be a 30 to 40 to 50-year building that we're building as a city office.
Yeah, and we're trying to cut costs where we can, for example, by doing what I think a lot of homeowners do and just leaving the basement unfinished. But we've gotten that advice several times that cutting down square footage can sometimes you just defeat the whole purpose. It's really expensive to add on. So we're working on that, and we're also trying to get ahead of some of those. As you add more and more things with the community center, it tends to just build on itself. So we're trying to get ahead of that right now, and we're going through that process of taking a hard look at being the most efficient that we can with the spaces, but also building it for the future. So we'll just continue to keep you updated on that.
Do we
So-
still see a groundbreaking this year?
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
still absolutely the plan. In fact, I think this spring, like
Still-
Mayish, end of June, or sorry, end of May, early June. That's the plan. All right. Anything else on that, Alan?
No, those are
Okay.
just the major updates.
All right. Consider authorizing the mayor to serve on a newly formed solid waste committee. Just a little background on that. As I'm sure you all know, Logan City announced their intention to withdraw as the garbage removal provider for the valley. They've given us 2 years' notice to do that. We met as a group of mayors and county, the county executive, county attorney. And they've nominated me to be the person in charge. So that is what I've been spending a lot of time on over the last few weeks, learning way more about waste removal services than I ever thought I would need to know. But I look forward to putting that on my resume and have asked Alan to refer to me as the trash czar, if you guys would.
I
But as
would like
as
that
part
on
of
business
that,
That's why we're sitting so far away. But
Don't want to
so,
get too close.
but as part of that, what our intention is to form a formal group of those mayors. I believe it's 19 entities. And from that group, authorize an executive committee to act on behalf of that group of mayors, kind of like a service district. The county attorney right now is working on setting up the bylaws and everything to form that group. At that point, that group will be in charge of entering into a contract with a waste removal company. The reason that we're doing that is because it's kind of a tricky situation because whose purchasing agreements or purchasing ordinances do you go by, when you're setting up those contracts? So we have to set up a whole entity to do that. And so tonight I kind of just wanted a ratification of my service on that committee. It will likely be both that broader committee and then the executive committee that I'll be serving on. I just want to make sure that the council's on board and that you guys, I'll keep you updated, of course, throughout that process. But just so you guys know, I'm confident that we'll work out a solution. The companies that I've spoken with, fortunately say that this is not necessarily a new situation, and it is complicated, but it's something that I think they're willing and actually eager to provide to our valley. So
is this like a WM, for example? Or are these
yeah,
just- okay.
yep, Waste Management, Republic,
Yeah.
ACE, Blue Can. Anyway,
Do we have any of that service here? for any of
No.
those? So this would be a
This
new
is,
market for
this
them.
would be them
Well, then, good.
moving a business here.
I could definitely see them wanting to be competitive then.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Plenty here.
No, I think that's a great thing. And to our new trash czar, good luck.
Glad to have you there.
So
actually.
I don't know, are we doing that as an official
Or
motion?
do we have to
you
do an
think-
official
You
motion?
can do it as a motion to have her serve because she would make decisions. She's actually
Oh, okay.
chairing those committees. I told Lindsay, just when she serves on these things in North Logan, you have to step in these roles because you get put in as the chair of almost any committee.
Okay.
So she has, she's
Been
taken
true.
that and run with it. And now she's the chair of
told
these
you.
committees.
Well, if we
boring,
need to make
though.
an
Mayor's job is
official
boring.
motion, I will make the official
Easy.
motion and hopefully Buzzy will second.
I'll
it.
second.
All
Oh, did you
right.
make it?
Sure. I made an official motion to authorize the mayor to serve on the solid waste committee.
All right.
I second the trash.
Okay,
czar appointment.
motion by Emily, second by Buzzy, all in favor?
I,
All right. that
In all
motion-
seriousness, Mayor, we want you there. You know,
Yeah,
like we need you at the
absolutely.
table for that.
Mhm.
So
Oh, I appreciate it.
yeah,
We want that here.
yes.
All right, we will move on to reports from the city officers, boards and committees. Chief, I really appreciate this.
Hey, I love this. This is great. So just real quick, I'll just give you numbers. I don't have a lot to report. From February 26th to March 19th, we've had 328 calls of service and 228 traffic contacts. So quite busy. We do have our 2 new officers that started with us. One started yesterday, and so far he's handled about 20 something calls. He's from the university, so they don't usually handle that many. So in 2 days, he's been very busy. So baptism by fire, I guess. Any questions for the police department? I will be presenting budget at that second week of April, I believe,
The
right?
13th.
13th. So,
Can you give me those numbers
Um,
again, please, Chief?
yeah, calls of service from February 26th to March 19th were 328. And traffic contacts between that same time period was 228.
Thank you.
Any other questions or?
Glad I'm
Okay.
not one of them.
Okay.
Chief, before you
Thanks.
leave, I'd like to schedule a meeting about the budget for next time, but that's just, like, we don't have to do, it. I just, don't leave. Don't run
You guys
away.
are having a
An
executive session, I believe, so I do step out for that. But
Yes.
I'll be out of town all of next week
Oh, okay.
for a conference. So the week after that, we could try and
Okay,
shoot for.
perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
I don't have really anything more than what he said. We recently lost 2 employees, which is always frustrating. Logan used to be the highest paying and most in around the area, and it's not anymore. So those are one of the challenges we're faced with of trying to keep up with growth and costs. So we're finalizing our budget this year. We'll probably have to discuss because we're going to have to make some drastic changes, and we have last year and again this year to try to keep up. So there might be some discussion next year, the budget time, about whether our contract keeps up with that, because I don't think anybody anticipated what they look like today. But we're working through those challenges, trying to replace those 2 individuals with some of our part-time. We have some potential candidates, so we'll get close. Information just for call volume, we're up 21% versus last year at the same time. So most of that is obviously EMS, but there's certainly been an uptick, our department wide and in Logan City and North Logan City. So just want to make you aware of that.
So you have seen that uptick in North Logan specifically?
Well, the entire system, we're probably up 14%. We cover Providence. They're probably the biggest growth this year. But there's 21% just in North Logan City.
Okay.
So compared to the same time last year. Now that could change because it's just the first quarter, but it is an uptick from last year at the same time.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Scott? We've heard from you guys. Jordan?
We are really curious about that sign-on option just to see. And nothing. Come on, Jordan. Do we need to up the ante? You guys got to put like a picture of your team on the
Yeah.
posting
Yeah,
or something.
actually, I think that
There's
would help.
actually
How
Elements
fun
of
these
that
guys
today.
are.
So things that we spoke about today with the social media and the communication committee, just elements. This is kind of the HR meeting that we had. It spilled over. The few things that we'll do, if you could watch this tomorrow, they'll probably do a social media post tomorrow, the next day on Facebook, where they'll put out a notice for the jobs. They'll talk about the sign-on bonus and other things. Internally, we talk about the referral bonus as well. There's a referral bonus if you refer other employees. If you could post that even on your own social media accounts, it helps significantly by posting those. The police were the most innovative by doing the yard signs, and we'll have probably some more yard signs for the public works positions going out and following suit, because there is some success that's resulted from that for the police. It has been a good opportunity there. And then they've actually talked about one thing that you notice in the police department and the public works department and across the city is culture. It helps with retention. And so we have a very strong culture. They do challenges. They work extremely hard. And then they also do things that make it fun to actually work at the city. It's surprising how extremely productive every department is across the board. But part of that culture, they might actually do some interviews with a few employees to post on that just say, why do you like working for North Logan City? Well, we might even have like a clip of at the end of the day when the employees come in and they've all worked hard, and then they have a bike race on the BMX course that they just created with rewards and punishments for those who don't win. So there's some fun stuff that they do with the employees, but we'll actually do something along those lines. So if you can watch for that in the next couple of days, that will really help with the 20 employees that we're down right now.
Okay. Murray, Allen.
The only thing I have is just list of upcoming events. Obviously, there's several programs going on with the library. There's numerous ones on the website you can follow. They do a fantastic job with their posts on Instagram and Facebook, keeping things up to date. And then I mentioned the health and wellness fair that they put together. I think they have like 20 something vendors down there, which is good. The Easter egg hunt's the 9th. Is that correct? 9th? That's that Saturday. The color fun run, that's in association with the library, Friends of the Library, I believe. They're all kind of putting that together in conjunction,
Mhm.
fundraising activity. That's April 16th at the library. And then these other items that will probably coordinate coming up, but just some events we like to keep you updated on. If you like to attend and help out, just be aware of those. Then the only other thing I was going to bring up, and I think Scott's already brought it up, is just that the Utah League of Seasoned Towns, we have to register before March 30th if you are interested in going. After that, there's a penalty as far as a fee to sign up, and then just getting your lodging lined up as well. So if you are attending, make sure you take care of that in the next 7 days.
Okay. Are the three of you going?
I am not.
Okay. Okay. Buzzy?
And I
Yeah.
registered, yeah, so
Okay.
I'll be there.
If you don't attend this one, I would encourage you to attend at least 1 or 2 days of the September
Yeah.
meeting. It's good to go to one or the other, and it's good to network and see what other cities. We don't have to reinvent the wheel on everything. I mean, if we're running into problems, you can usually talk with other cities and figure things out.
Okay. All right. All right, then we will move to executive session. I believe we do that by motion.
Motion to end the session and go into executive session?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second,
Second by Buzzy. All in favor?
I,
All right.
congrats, Heather. It went well.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Does anyone need a break?